Hi traders, my name is Duncan Cooper and I'm a Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor at AUDJPY Securities. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the key trading levels for the week ahead for the pairs the Australian dollar to the Japanese yen, the Australian dollar to the US dollar, the euro to the Japanese yen, the euro to the US dollar, the pound to the Japanese yen, and the pound to the US dollar. So let's get into the first pair. Hi traders, hope you had a great trading week. Now I'm on the Aussie yen day chart, got my monthly, weekly, day support and resistance levels all drawn in. They're all referenced in the description below. I'll just talk about the ones closest to price now. We actually traded up all week last week, so we had a reversal week and we're just above 92.59 weekly resistance. Now broadly though, we have weekly support here and a broad area of weekly resistance up here. So we're quite range bound. What I'm anticipating is we could be moving up from this weekly support level all the way up, back up to retest weekly resistance. So I'm still classing 92.59 as weekly resistance at the moment, but if we start to hold above that level at the start of the week, I'm anticipating over the coming weeks that we may start to move all the way back up to this longer term weekly resistance level, and in the short term remain in this broad weekly range. So at the start of the week, watch 92.59. That could still hold as resistance and we could see then just a clear move back down the range to test the 9100 level. But if the dollar yen starts to move up next week, then anticipate that the yen pairs will follow suit and we could see the Aussie yen moving all the way back up to the top of the weekly range up here at 95.73. Alright traders, moving on to the Aussie dollar now. Still in an uptrend, it's just holding the uptrend. We're putting another higher bottom last week down at monthly weekly support, and we came up at the end of the week and tested daily resistance 67.97, pretty much the 6800 level. That's where we traded at. So we've been holding and failing at this 6800 level for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Are we going to finally put in a lower top, a significant lower top, to move down next week? Are we going to fail? So I'm anticipating we could put in a lower top and start to move back down to test weekly support and monthly support 66.81, 66.71. Can we finally start to turn over? The US dollar index put in a positive reversal week last week, close to long-term monthly support. Is the US dollar finding a bottom? If it is, then we could well see the Aussie dollar fail at 68 next week for a move down. It could come up though and test 68.26 weekly resistance over here once more, but I'm anticipating that we could be topping out here for a movement back down the range long term. Alright traders, moving on to Euro Yen now. We've found good strong support here. We've got monthly support from back in time. If you go to your monthly chart, you'll find it. And we're trading up, where we traded up all week last week, back to what is monthly resistance over here. So we've been finding support at monthly support, and we're finding resistance at monthly resistance, but we had a very good weekly reversal last week. I'm anticipating that, as I just said on the Aussie yen, if the dollar yen moves up next week, we could be moving higher up on this pair. So critical level to watch next week is 144.26 monthly resistance. Does that hold as resistance for a move down, or are we simply going to move up to the next level of weekly resistance, which is 145.63? Okay, we had a very strong week up last week. So 145.26, does it hold as resistance for a move back down, or do we break higher and start to look to retest 145.63, this weekly resistance level here? And there's also monthly resistance just fractionally above that level too. So the major levels of resistance and support are definitely defining the market on this pair. 144.26 is a level to watch at the start of the week. Does it hold as resistance or does it break? And do we move up to the next level of resistance at 145.63? Alright traders, moving on to the euro dollar. Now last week we almost tested daily resistance at 106.01. So there's a strong resistance level here. There's daily resistance, there's weekly resistance at 106.15, and if you go to your monthly chart, there's an old low here at 106.35. So a very strong level of resistance here that the market came up to test. We actually tried to come up again on Friday. So Monday and Friday we tested the level, finished negative on Friday. Is that a telltale sign that we might not be able to move through that level? So next week, are we able to hold the advance? Can we come up next week and test 106.35 monthly resistance? We have lots of interest rate decisions coming out next week. We've got the US interest rate decision, the Eurozone interest rate decision, the UK interest rate decision, I think the Swiss interest rate decision as well. So lots of central banks doing their thing next week. So are we able to hold that uptrend? It's still got higher tops and bottoms. As I said before, the dollar index actually put in a reversal week to the upside. So are we actually topping out here? So if we retest the 10600 level at the start of the week and hold, anticipate that we might actually be topping out here to move down the range. Alright, so the critical area to watch is 106.01 up to 106.35. Very strong resistance area. Can the market move above that level next week? If it starts to fail, anticipate a reversal back down the range. Alright traders, moving on to the pound yen. Now all the yen crosses I'm reviewing were positive last week. There is a case that the dollar yen may be putting in a bottom, and if that starts to move up, all these yen pairs could follow suit, especially if they get a very strong move against the yen. So last week we were positive. We came up to retest this old weekly top at 167.35. It did hold there pretty much all week, but if we have another positive week, we could well be moving up to test the higher levels of resistance, this monthly top at 168.72, and we could break above that level. So at the start of the week, the level to watch is 167.35. Do we break above, or does it simply hold and remain rather range bound for a movement back down to daily support at 164.28? Alright, so with these yen pairs, watch the dollar yen next week. If that starts to break strongly higher, all these yen pairs could be moving up next week. Alright traders, last pair to review for the weekend, pound dollar. Now last week we tested the 122.93 weekly resistance level, August high over here twice. We reversed on Monday, we retested Friday, and we did reject. So next week, are we able to move above this level and come up to challenge 123.91 monthly resistance, or are we simply failing here now for a movement back down the range? Alright, so can we hold the uptrend and move above 122.93 next week, or are we simply starting to put in a minor double top here on the day chart against the bigger weekly top here, which could be, long term we could have a weekly double top forming here. So do we have a weekly double top forming for the long term, and in the short term are we starting to form a minor double top on the day chart to confirm the reversal? So watch 122.93 at the start of the week. We may get a retest of that level. Can we move above it? If we start to fail at the start of the week, expect a decline back down the range. Okay traders, that's my analysis for today. If you want to keep up to date with my analysis, simply subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Now if you'd like to follow my forex trading analysis throughout the week, why not subscribe to the ACY Securities live interactive trading feed Telegram channel. Simply contact Nathan.bray at acy.com to get access.